Wow, this is new. Put this on the internet, people will find you funny. I don't think you should be allowed to have children if you are a Disney adult. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. People will be hurt. There is always some sort of honesty behind somebody's visceral reaction. I am single for now.
Welcome back to another episode of First Rounds and Me, a First Rounds and Media production. Today we are joined by someone whose brain is somehow equal parts witty, wise, and wildly unfiltered. The endlessly entertaining Greyson Hoelzel. If you've ever stumbled onto his content and thought, wait, how is he saying exactly what I'm thinking but funnier? Same. From satirical takes on corporate chaos to hilariously brutal dating advice, Greyson's carved out a corner of the internet where humor meets honesty, and we are so very here for it. We'll talk about his unexpected path into content creation and how he balances authenticity with the algorithm. Then we're diving headfirst into the beautiful mess that is modern dating, from dating apps and first dates to red flags and irrational icks. Plus, we're putting him in the hot seat for a few First Rounds on Me favorite games, like What Would Greyson Do? And a fan favorite, How Well Do You Know Yourself? Greyson, welcome to the show.
Howdy, I'm very excited to be here. Now, you gassed me up quite a bit in that intro, and it's only downhill. There's only going to be disappointment from here.
He's like, I want to place expectations.
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Just drop those expectations just a little bit, and we'll be solid.
No, it's my job to gas you up, and gas you up we shall. There's a lot to be gassed up as well, because as we were saying on the elevator ride up here, part of my job as the researcher of the podcast is I sit there and I go through literally every part of your life with a fine-tooth comb. So I know a lot about you, but I'm really excited for the listeners and for Joe.
And we're playing How Well Do You Know Yourself, which is my favorite game.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, I mean, I'm hoping if you guys did a lot of research, you can help me, because sometimes I don't really know anything about myself.
I love playing this actually with content creators in general, because you guys pump out and create so much content that I go sometimes like something that you created last week, something that you created three years ago. And I really am so curious to find it. I actually moved it up in the structure of the podcast this week as well.
Oh, really?
So we're going to
Content creators are hard to do this game. I think one person has got them all right. Was it
one person?
Oh, geez.
Well, see, why do you always say that? You always set people up for
Oh, no.
I like putting the pressure on.
Oh, God.
all right, let's give us like a little 30-second snapshot of yourself. Like,
Okay.
Who are you? Where are you from? What's the weirdest thing about you?
All right. So my name is Greyson Hoelzel. I'm born and raised in Madera Ranchos, California, which is basically just Fresno, California. It's about 20 minutes away. If you're anywhere from the Central Valley, you just say you're from Fresno. From there, I moved to Nevada, where I went to school, University of Nevada, Reno. The only reason why I'm saying this is I got my degree in engineering. Half of my personality is my cat, and the other half happens to be that I'm an engineer. That's all I talk about, unfortunately. It's like my gold standard rule is I have to bring it up in a conversation. And then from Nevada, I moved to Idaho, and then from Idaho, I moved to Philadelphia, where I currently reside.
Mate, that's a wild.
Why Idaho?
Yeah.
So my family, pre-pandemic, there was like this mass exodus of people basically who didn't want to pay a ton in taxes. They all moved from California to Idaho, and that's where my family lives now, because they're like, it's cheaper here. And then you look at the price of anything there, and you're like, dog, you're paying the same thing. I don't know what difference it is. It's greener. There's more trees, I guess, but that's about it.
Did you do any dating in Idaho? I'm curious to see what that's like. I've never met anyone who's dated in Idaho.
No.
So the thing with Idaho, and this just goes with like, in Idaho, there's two big religious populations. There's Christianity, and then there's Mormonism, which is a sect of Christianity. And so people get married really young. And so I was fresh out of college, 23. And this is where I picked up the habit of, if I wanted to talk to any woman out in public, the first thing I did was look to see if she had a wedding ring in or on. And that has carried over into my now 3 years later life. But like being 22 and your first thought is she's probably my age and she might be married was like the biggest jump from being in college to being in a new area.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's kind of wild, isn't it, in this day and age in particular?
Before you go, because I know Hannah has a very great, thorough plan here, but I always go off tangent and she reels me back.
So what makes us such a good pair,
Before we do, how are the potatoes?
So that's everybody's first question is, what are the potatoes like? To be honest with you, I could not tell a difference. That might be blasphemy. That might be a little terrorizing.
A lot of hate mail from Idaho right now.
I can feel the comments already. People are saying, oh, the Aura Idaho, whatever. I honestly couldn't tell. But I did learn about fry sauce. Fry sauce is like the next big thing. It's the new Wonder Bread in Idaho. That's all they talk about is like, oh, can I get that? They get everything. They get pizza with fry sauce. They get ice cream with fry sauce. I'm
What
like,
is it?
Hannah's starting to salivate over
Yeah.
there.
yeah, it's, I mean,
Pregnant and hungry. What is this?
imagine like ketchup and mayo.
Okay, wait,
That's
hold
it.
up. So I lived in Paris when I started my modeling career, and they have something called pomme frite sauce, which is ketchup and mayo. I guarantee it's the same fucking thing.
Ketchup and mayo is Big Mac sauce.
That's all it is.
So there's
And
just different names.
They just call it fry sauce. It's pink. That's it.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it.
So down for it. Now I'm getting that on the way home. I don't know what we're getting. All right. So you saying that half your personality is your cat. Adorable me. So, and then half of it's engineering, but then there has to be a little sliver in there for content creation, because even though by day you are an engineer, which is like wild to me that you are so massive across all the social platforms, yet you somehow have time to have like a regular 9 to 5 as well. How did you get into content creation?
So, funny story. Mom, cover your ears. When I first started out, it was like June of 2020. I used to send TikTok-like videos to my friends where it was just me talking in a car, being, you know, some funny bit or joke or anything like that. And then one of my friends was just like, you know, if you put this on the internet, people will find you funny. And so I started doing that. And the first TikTok I ever put out there, it somewhat went viral. It was like 300,000 views or whatever. And
The first TikTok.
I ever
somewhat
posted.
viral to you.
Yeah. So,
That's very viral to us.
for me, that was like, I had never experienced like being perceived online or in public or anything like that. And then the joke was that I jokingly, this isn't truthful, I think, but I hope. But essentially, my first video I ever made, I joked about going to the doctor and being diagnosed with a micropenis. It blew up. So now everybody's perception of me immediately was like, oh, okay, this guy, he's not working with a whole lot. So like, I had to come back from that. But yeah, to your point of like, it's weird balancing now, because it truthfully is becoming like not just a part-time job, like something that could potentially take over as a full-time job. But for the most part, growing up, I was always a good student. I was great at math and science, and I found a way to incorporate the two. And now my brain has to be stimulated that way. So it's like, I want to keep the engineering job for as long as possible, because it forces me to like really think, not trying to sound, you know, all douchey. Oh, I belong in a 9 to 5, you know, where I'm working hard and doing all these hours. But for the most part, it is like very, it helps me like
Stimulates your brain in a way that something like content creation couldn't.
Yeah.
And just because you are a fantastic content creator, and arguably like your engagement, when you look at it, it's fucking wild. Like we're talking like hundreds of thousands of shares. Like it's insane.
Oh, I know. We did a deep dive
I know.
on all
also-
the people we partnered with. We did a deep dive mathematically of doesn't make sense, and you did.
Nice.
You made a lot of sense.
Cool.
But I think it's a really beautiful thing when you have the capabilities. I think a lot of people don't actually have the brain space or the brain power to be able to juggle the two, and that's why they often end up leaving their 9 to 5 to go into content creation full time. But like I say, props to you, babe. Like,
thank you.
If you can do both, and they both fulfill you in different ways, then why not? I know this is probably like a broad question, but like, what's the creativity process behind some of the shit that you do? Like, obviously, the micropenis. Not born from personal experience, but just something fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, where does that come? Like, how do you come up with the shit that you put on the internet?
It honestly, so when I first started out, it would just be like I filmed all my videos inside of my car. When I started out, my username was comedian in his car. I was not a comedian, but I was in my car, so that was the whole thing. And then eventually I kind of grew out of that, and I wanted to like expand to like different environments, because like anytime I wasn't in the car, people were like, why aren't you in your car? And I was like, all right, I gotta move out of this sphere. But yeah, it started out as like just funny quips and punchlines I would come up with, and I would have to figure out, you know, how in the first 5 seconds of the video to set up the punchline for the rest of the video. But now it's more or less like, and I feel like this is a lot of the creation style. It's like you talk about any sort of tag or phrase or anything that's like popular. For example, there's this whole thing on TikTok right now about one gorilla versus 100 men, like who would win.
What?
And maybe I'm on a different side than you guys. Maybe my For You page is a little bit different, but that's like a whole conversation. And so yesterday I was just like, I was like, all right, well, this is what's popular. I guess I could talk about it, or it's that. And then if that doesn't come to me, I just sit with my thoughts for like 15 minutes and I'm like, all right, what do you got? And
What's
then
funny, yeah.
So it's pretty spontaneous.
it's very spontaneous, unless it's like a lifestyle video, which I just started doing this year, where it's like thought out to the point of like, all right, I'm going to film myself throughout the day, or I'm going to film myself doing, skincare, or like what my hobbies are, or something like that. That's a little more thought out of like, all right, I have to plan what I'm going to say and I have to be in certain settings. But then for the most part, I mean, most of my videos are anywhere from like 20 to 40 seconds, and it's just me 15 minutes of brainstorming. We'll see if it sticks. It's just throwing a lot of shit at the window, and hopefully something
It's so
comes out of
hard.
it. It's so difficult.
Our team wants me to do this stuff, and I just made a TikTok the other day. And once the camera is on me, I'm like, I just don't even know where to start, what to say. I get super
He gets
awkward.
real Will Ferrell with like his
Yeah, I'm
hands.
just
He's like, what do I do with
and then
it?
you say something, and I watch it back, and I'm like, nobody cares about this. Why am I doing this?
I think that is a part of content creation that you kind of have to like push past, is like, and we were just talking about this in terms of podcasting, right? Like people are coming to watch you, or coming to watch you because they like you. They like your idiosyncrasies, and they like you as like the weird little human that you are. And so it's like, instead of going, who's going to watch this? Be like, this is going to land with somebody. That's how you have to kind of like phrase it.
How much goes into post-production?
Honestly, not much. I add captions because I feel like that's one thing. When I started out, I wasn't adding captions, and then I had comments being like, hey, like, there's people on the internet that I can't hear. And so like it would be helpful to add captions. And so I started doing that. But as far as like cuts, I try and keep cuts to a minimum, just because I have and friends of mine on the internet that do this. So I apologize if I'm offending you by saying this, but like, when there's so many cuts, it feels like a little too, like for a 30-second video, if you have like more than 3 cuts, it just feels a little too manufactured. It's not, you're not showing what you're capable of in like a 30-second stretch. That could have been an hour of brainstorming the next 5 words to say. And to me, that's just not authentic, which, hey, if that's what you do, more power to you. I just would rather it come off a little more fluent and just like be a stretch of thought, rather than, what 10 words can I say? Pause, keep going, 10 words. That's just kind of what I try to stick to.
Is that because that's the type of content that you like ingesting?
Yeah, I mean, I think the majority of people who are like naturally funny, it's the same way, in the sense that like they don't need all those cuts to get their punchlines out, to get their bits out, to make people laugh. And so that's what I try to strive for. I mean, naturally, it doesn't always work out that way. Thankfully, for the most part, I would say it has for me, which is I'm very happy about, very blessed. But like, but yeah, I try to keep it as minimal with the cuts and the editing as far as post-production goes. But anything else other than that, I don't add effects or filters.
That's awesome. I mean, we spoke at the event the other day. You were telling me that you being yourself actually resonates the best and you feel most comfortable. And I think that's another challenging thing. It's like, okay, when the camera's on, it's like, okay, be yourself. And then it's like, wait, I'm thinking about being myself. And then I'm not myself. And I'm like, actually just being calm and being able to speak in front of a camera is so hard.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Like, practice makes progress.
Absolutely.
Like, the more you do it, the more comfortable. And that's what I keep trying to explain to him. Because he's like, why am I not a TikTok star? I'm like, because I was like, just relax.
I think there's many other reasons
Ease
why.
into it. I was like, just give yourself a little bit of time and a little bit of like, just ease to be able to do it and to practice, because the more you practice, the better you'll get. Nobody's ever perfect.
Yeah,
fellas.
and that's one thing I try to, because my sister wants to get into content creation too, and she does this weird thing where like, every time she goes to film herself, she's talking normally, and then as soon as she hits the record, she goes into like this weird voice where it's
British
like
accents.
she sounds like if you've ever seen Watch Mojo, she sounds like the Watch Mojo lady, where she's like, "Here's what I'm doing today." It's like, you don't talk like that. Just be yourself. You're funny as you are. You don't have to become a character every time you hit record. And this is kind of like what we were talking about, where like it is a learned trait where you become more comfortable and you're like, all right, I'm going to put this out there for the internet to see. But like eventually, with time, it does get a lot easier. And that process of, and also understanding your audience is a big thing. When I was starting out, I was still getting an audience, but now I have one and I know what they'll like to see. So if I want to post something that makes the people that follow me laugh, I know kind of where to start. There's already building blocks there.
You already
That's
know how to
awesome.
make the people happy.
Yeah, it's funny. So I'm supposed to tell this story about how I started Fresh Rounds on Me. I tell the story every single day on every Zoom call, every meeting, and it comes out easy. It's my story. So then the team's like, okay, Joe, we're gonna do a TikTok. Tell your story. And I'm like, I started the app in 2016. Like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't even know how to start the story. Like, you say it all day. I'm like, I don't know.
You get there, babe. You get there. All right, speaking of content creation, I'm going to play our first game.
Let's do
Are
it.
you ready?
I'm excited.
So this really is our favorite game on the show. It's called How Well Do You Know Yourself, where I've gone to the deep depths of your social medias, both Instagram and TikTok, and we're going to see if you can finish these sentences or remind yourself of what you've done. You'll understand the premise.
Did you make it fairly realistic? Like
Fairly realistic?
Like possible for him to get them.
Maybe.
Even if I have a pretty decent memory, I'm not going to brag or anything, but I would be very upset with myself if I didn't remember at least a couple of these.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And if you went like
6,
to the
7.
depths, there's some dark, like those are some dark depths of me
So
just
there's
saying.
7.
There's 7.
So he needs to get
and
4
the
to
first
pass.
one,
Okay.
he's already actually answered. There's
Oh.
going to be a softball regardless.
Okay.
Because I always like to introduce people with a softball.
All right,
but like
4 to
you've already
pass.
done, I'm going to say it and you can just answer it. Ready? In a Canvas Rebel magazine article in November of 2024, what did you say your first post was?
It was me. I can probably say it word for word. I just got back from the doctor's office. He prescribed me with micropenis syndrome. I said prescribed. That's not even the right word to say. And all the comments naturally were like, "Do you mean diagnosed?" And then yeah, but yeah, that was
Satirical video about being diagnosed with a micropenis.
1 for 1.
Ding, ding,
yeah,
ding.
1 for 1. Let's go.
Okay, so I've gone from Instagram and TikTok because your Instagram has not been around as long as your TikTok. And so the first couple I've picked from Instagram, I'll let you know where it transitions to TikTok. All right?
Okay.
From Instagram. In a post on September 8th, 2023, that I have to assume was a birthday post considering the tag location was birthday headquarters. On the 4th slide of the carousel, you are holding a phone above your head with a saying. What was that saying?
It says, "Buy me a shot" with 2 exclamation marks.
It does not, Greyson.
Oh my, that's so
Was that
embarrassing.
one of the slides?
No. Maybe. I don't know. That's not what I was looking at.
Oh wait.
It's
Wait.
No, I'm giving.
Okay. We can give him
I
some
do, I
try.
do remember.
What is it?
It says text your ex.
Nope.
Oh,
Oh,
my
wait, let's give
god,
it
why
one
am I
more
so
try.
confident?
One more try.
Oh man, I do this a lot. Anytime I go to a bar and it's crowded, I always do the. It's like the guy with
so
the
you
sign
do-
thing. I literally do this everywhere I go. It's unfortunately my thing.
It's 1, 2, 3 words, but 2 of those words are itty bitty. We don't make this easy for the people.
Unfortunately, I don't know this one.
All right.
I'm a munch.
Oh my god, yes. Yeah, I do remember
Now
now.
he remembers.
I do remember now.
Gotcha, Grayson.
Yeah, you
Now he
got
has
me
to
on that one.
pass. No
Yep.
perfect score.
On March 3rd of this year, you posted a video that started off with, if you're a man that is balding, ... What was the reason you gave for said balding?
It's because you've done evil deeds in a past life.
Irreversible evil in a past life.
That one I will stand on that business because it has to be true. I don't know how it works. I don't know the whole astrology part of it, if that's a thing. But like, you rebirth. If you were evil back then,
You're
that
bald.
hairline's gone. I don't know what to tell you.
I love how you were like, see, I'm fine, I'm perfect.
Yeah.
We can live
I'm
together.
gonna say that now, and then in 10 years, my hairline's gonna be gone.
On February 21st of this year, you posted a video that started, I truthfully believe from the bottom of my heart, all I need to fix me is...
Somebody that's slightly worse.
someone who is just a little bit worse than me to really fix what I have going on.
And I believe
pass.
that. Anybody
pass.
out there that's slightly worse, you know where to find me.
In October 7th of 2024, you posted a video that started, my guilty pleasure, if I can be honest, ...
Ooh. Lying to people.
No.
That is one of them.
I know exactly which video you're talking
Yeah.
about. It's not that one.
Oh man, my guilty pleasure, if I can be
Hint?
honest.
I can't give you a hint. Because I feel like if I give you a hint, you're going to get it straight away. And I'm not in the business of giving people answers.
Fair.
When
like
I
it.
say that phrase, what jogs my memory is my guilty pleasure, if I can be honest, is going the extra mile or the extra step but now that's where the block is.
To look or act.
Oh, a little slutty.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
I'll give it.
Yeah.
I'll give it.
Am I about it? Not even a little bit. I've got debilitating social anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm awkward and very shy. But do I want to look slutty? Yes.
I'd like to think I can get there, but in all reality, I mean, right now I'm dressed like a history teacher from a high school. But like, if I were to step out in this, nobody would be like,
You know what you reminded me of? And this is a compliment.
"Oh, thank God."
Of Justin Timberlake in Bad Teacher.
I don't know if that is a compliment.
It is.
Is it?
Justin Timberlake's great looking.
Oh, thank you.
I mean,
I
he's just
personally
dressed
don't-
like a teacher.
Yeah. I mean, he plays a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I don't think he's that good looking.
Justin Timberlake?
No, he really doesn't do it for me. But we have different taste in men.
Depends on what era.
Different taste in men.
You think Brad Pitt's like the sexiest thing alive? I'm like,
Oh my God. No, that's not what I said.
Again, I feel like it depends on the era because, like, if you take
that's what I said.
Justin Timberlake with the
Frosted tips.
frosted tips, I mean that's a tough look.
Yeah.
But Oh, I don't know. Maybe Justin Timberlake when he's like voicing the Trolls character. He's got like the big ass headphones on. I don't know. Maybe
The headphones really do it for
Joey,
you?
Yeah, the
Joey,
headphones.
in this clip, just put up a side by side of Justin Timberlake in Bad Teacher and Greyson.
Yeah.
It's going to be identical.
All right, we're moving on to TikTok. We have 2 from there, right? On December 17th of last year, you posted a video saying you are the who of falling in love with people who don't live even remotely close to you.
The Michael Jordan.
Ooh, I love that.
I knew you'd love that.
Yeah.
All right, last one. This is the 3-parter. All right?
Oh, let's go.
There's going to be 3 answers to
Well, he already passed
one
and he
question.
has a
I know.
phenomenal score.
Oh,
You've
thank
already
you.
done such a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
On March 13 of this year, you posted a video that started, I think my favorite part about working a corporate job is that while I'm working on reports, doing designs, sifting through Excel spreadsheets, I'm actively listening to ... What were the 3 songs you mentioned and who were they by?
As you were saying that, I knew exactly where you were going with this, and I'm trying to jog my memory. Let's see. Is it Party Rock Anthem by LMFAO is one of them?
No.
No? Oh, God. This is embarrassing.
Great song.
Great song.
Man.
But LMFAO was a part of it.
Interesting. Oh, man.
You can accept
They have
defeat.
another song?
It's
believe it or not.
It's in conjunction with somebody else.
Okay.
Oh, Shots by Lil Jon and
There
LMFAO.
you
That's
go.
one of them. And then, oh, my God. That kind of jogged it a little bit.
Airplane. It's a type of airplane.
Boeing?
No.
I don't know.
What song? Like a G6?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Fly Like a G6.
By
That's
Far
right.
East Movement.
That's
What was the
right.
last one?
Oh, man.
What year was this?
What do you mean? He posted
Those,
it this
those
year.
are great songs. I still listen to those to
I
this
feel like I'm
day.
21 at the Jersey Shore, like Party Rock.
And I don't want to touch on age differences here, but when I heard those songs first, I was probably 12 or 13.
Yeah, I was 21 when those songs came out.
That had to have been the perfect time to be alive to hear those songs, because the thought of going to a club and hearing that unironically would be, I think that would make me transcend out of my body and like experience out of body things at a club or a bar or whatever. That would be
Shots went off.
Those
man.
songs at the Jersey Shore were a scene. That's all I have to say.
the third one. Oh man, I cannot.
It's actually by a bald man.
Pitbull. Yeah.
By a bald man.
Yeah,
Pitbull.
that's right. Yeah.
You know what, Grayson? You did a really.
Grayson,
You,
an
Thank you.
old soul.
Grayson,
10 years old.
Yeah.
somewhat knows himself.
Somewhat.
You don't
To my
wholly know
credit.
yourself, but you somewhat know yourself. And you
To
know
my
what? I'm
credit,
down for
I
it.
did a lot better than I thought I was going to do.
All right. All right, we're going to dive into dating because that's what we're here. That's
Let's
what we
do
love
it.
to talk about.
Let's do it.
So first and foremost, we ask every person on the podcast.
Putting you on the spot.
Are you dating somebody? Are you single? Are you somewhere in between?
I am single for now.
Oh, for now.
I recently got out of not really, I wasn't in anything per se, but it was like a long distance thing. We met through a mutual friend, and we got it hit the point where it was like we either be official or we have to end things because like we can't do long distance. I'm planning on moving. She was planning on moving. We both had a lot going on. So to answer your question, single, very much single. With me planning on moving to New York, I am kind of limiting myself. I'm telling myself I'm not going to get into dating until I'm here and I'm settled. Okay. So for the most part, I probably will be single and not really date or look for a girlfriend until, I don't know, maybe late summer.
Just hanging out with miso and your bottle of white wine.
Just
Is that
hanging
what
out
you
with me.
want, though? Do you want to find a girlfriend eventually, or do you not care?
So one thing I need to look into is therapy. If anybody's listening, look into therapy. I've been in it before. And I think there's too many things for me to work on personally that get in the way of me dating. Because there comes a point, and I actually recently made a video about this, where there comes a point where I get, I've been seeing somebody for maybe a couple weeks, a couple months. We've been on several dates where there's like this mental block between like really going for it and being, boyfriend, girlfriend, where I just don't know what it is. It's like this invisible barrier that I can't break through. And rather than putting somebody through the emotional turmoil of that and being on the other end of that, I'd rather fix that before ruining somebody else's life.
Why do you think it's a fixed thing, though? I don't get it. Well, it's your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say, hearing that, it seems you're 25. Like,
fair point. And I definitely get that. My thing is like the way I am as a person, I don't want to ruin anybody's, and I'm not saying I'm capable of ruining somebody's life, but I don't want somebody to go through emotional hell to be with me, you know? So for the most part, I just, rather than even risk somebody getting hurt by me, I'd rather, fix or work on or accept the issues that I struggle with, rather than, go into something without really thinking about it. And then, along the lines, I get blocked because they're like, why didn't you think about this earlier? And I was like, I don't know. I just liked you.
I think two things have happened there. One, you're 25
Fair.
and you're going to move to New York City and you're going to have so much fun. And two, one day you're going to meet somebody and it's going to be a no-brainer where you're like, this feels really different.
I completely understand what you're saying. And I think in a couple of different ways, Joe is very blessed to have a pretty good equilibrium of mind. And I come from a background of really severe depression and anxiety. And I kind of went through the same thing. I went through a kind of a gnarlier childhood. And so I recognized when I was getting into relationships that there were certain blocks or certain things that I was battling that were repeated in every relationship. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to keep doing that. And when we met, we actually broke up for 3 months, a year into our relationship. And that period of time was really good for me because I got to be able to step back and go, what are these areas that I need to identify? And I love, so beautifully said by you, was not even sometimes fix, just accept and acknowledge that they're there, because then it helps you, you're able to talk to your partner about it or go about dating in the right way. But it's, I think it's really mature and quite fantastic of you to acknowledge that I don't want to lead somebody down an emotional path that I'm not capable of fulfilling. And so if I'm not able to do that, and also just to Joe's point, you're 25, you shouldn't, you don't have to be doing that.
I just don't like the word fix.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just growing and evolving, and you could be any age and grow and evolve, and there's nothing wrong with people.
And to your point, you should always be growing and evolving, shouldn't you? He's turning 35 tomorrow. It's his Australian birthday today.
Wow. Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Yeah, I love it.
I feel honored that I get to spend the day with the birthday
you're the
boy.
first one, Greyson.
But it's we're constantly growing and evolving. I think even more so as you get older, you start to shine, you have the ability to shine light on areas that you want more growth in. But I think it's fantastic that you're starting now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think maybe fix is the wrong word.
Yeah.
Because when you say fix, there has to be a problem, and maybe there's not a problem. There's just a way that I am, and I just haven't been able to accept it quite yet. Or maybe I haven't found the right person that is going to work with me in a way that I haven't been worked around before, and then that's going to be the piece to complete me. Not to sound cringy, but
and also
romantic.
taking a step further back. 25, yes, you're an adult, you're doing great, you're in life. It's still, you're still figuring out who you are as an adult. You graduated college at what, 22?
Yes.
Right. So 3 years you've been out of college. So I always tell people from 22 until 29, you're just learning who you are. And then by 29, you should have an idea this is what I like, this is who I am, this is who I am. So 25, you're in the thick of it. You don't have to be fixed. You're just figuring out, who am I? What do I like?
But to your point, you meet somebody in life, and I think Joe and I can attest to this, considering I'm married and have a baby on the way, that you do meet people in life that you go, all right, I can work through some of these things. And I think a lot of people are really scared to they feel like they have to be perfect or they have to have everything quote unquote fixed before they get into a relationship. But I am the biggest advocate of saying, hey, listen, be self-aware and get to know yourself and do all those types of things. But the most beautiful healing can happen within a safe and content relationship, because that is where you grow the most. So it's that's something to look forward to.
Wow. That was you guys really tag teamed me on that. That was perfect. That was exactly what I needed to hear.
Funny to serious, sentimental. We covered it all.
We're pretty multifaceted. If you really think about it.
That was insane. That was perfect.
Okay, so now I want to get into something a little it's not sexier. It's not, what is it? I don't know what it is. What do you think an attractive red flag is?
An attractive red flag? Ooh.
You're like, oh, that's a little dangerous, but also at the same time, that's hot as hell.
It's funny, and I don't know if this isn't a red flag by any means, but it was one thing I learned pretty early on that I was attracted to, because being from the West Coast, or being from a small town, and then going to a small college, and then going to Idaho, where it's mostly, a religious city, for lack of a better term. When I first moved to the East Coast, this was the first time I had ever been introduced to bisexual women. And that was the one thing that when I got here, I was like, wow, this is new. This is very new to me. And so I was like, when I was on dating apps, when I first started out in Philly, it seemed as though there was a pattern, and that pattern happened to be a woman who preferred men and women. And that was like the one thing that I stuck with.
Wow, you really gravitated towards the bisexuals.
Yeah. I for some reason, I don't know what it is. The thought of a threesome terrifies me. I would never in a million years.
Did you ever?
No, definitely not. No, I would be. I mean, being intimate with one person in and of itself to me is terrifying. You throw somebody else into the mix. There's already so many thoughts and emotions going on with one person.
Same page as you, man. Same page.
It's terrifying to throw another person in the mix and be like, all right, now we got to divide that.
When Hannah and I were getting really serious, she was like, listen, if you ever get an urge or anything. So Hannah was bisexual. Bisexual. So
I preface it this way. I said, I'm a big believer that like people have like, you get into a relationship, you get into like a long-term relationship, and I would much rather you come to me and be like, hey, I'm feeling like I need a little bit more excitement in my life.
But I wanted to tell.
Okay, sorry. Go.
So she's bisexual. She said, if you have these urges, let me know. And not worst case scenario, but if we have to, we could sleep with another woman. And I was like, that sounds awesome. It really helped me, you saying that, because if I ever do get an urge, that would be great. But I don't think that I would be able to do anything.
100%. 100%.
Maybe I can watch the two of you.
100%.
But
yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to really.
I think it's a beautiful thing in theory. It is a completely different thing in practice. And like, I truly believe that, and this is just my own personal opinion, that threesomes are better left to like drunk early 20s nights, which I had a fair few of them in my day. And they're best left to that versus like in a relationship, because when you get into a relationship, then a lot of lines get crossed. I had some threesomes in past relationships, and then you're kind of just like, you were looking at her too long, you're kissing her, you know what I mean? So it just gets a little bit messy. But it's always nice to be able to give people an option just going, hey, listen, I don't have to be the only one. We can always explore together.
Yeah.
What's a dating rule that absolutely needs to be retired?
Ooh, there's a thing going around right now that's very popular amongst my generation that is the 3-month rule. There's this weird thing, and I don't believe in it at all, although I have done it before, where you date there's a unofficial rule. I think it's mostly amongst like young men, where you date somebody for 3 months, and if you like date somebody seriously with the intention of dating for 3 months, and if by that 3-month mark you are still having second thoughts, you have to completely stop talking to them, because at that point it's not going to work. What the thought process is. I don't agree with it. I think some relationships take time and some don't. Some after a week tend to work out, and some after, maybe 5 months tend to work out. But yeah, that the 3-month rule is something that I just don't think. It's putting yourself and somebody else that you're seeing into a box that should not exist. On
a time limit. That's really interesting though, because it to me, when I first heard that, it kind of plays off the psychological notion that nobody can pretend to be something for longer than 3 months, right? So you can we all put our best foot forward when we're on like first dates. And even the first couple of months of a relationship, you kind of like really trying to appease this other person, trying to like mold your life. But after a 3-month period, or after a certain amount of time before that 3 months is up, is like you really start to see who somebody actually is. So I'm wondering if it was based off of that, or if it's just kind of arbitrary where that 3 months came in. Yeah,
maybe. I mean, I think you're right to some extent. Once you hit a certain time with somebody, spending time with somebody, they become more comfortable. And it's unfortunate that like you're putting an end date on something that might take longer, and then not allowing yourself or somebody else to like really blossom in that time period.
Nothing in life, nobody and nothing in life can all fit into the same box. That's just, everything has to be conditional. Because you're right. Sometimes you can know within a month. Like I knew on our first date, I came home to my roommates and I was like, I don't know how, I don't know when, I'm going to marry that man.
Nice. I did not know.
Oh, hey,
no,
that's
he did not.
Sometimes it takes time.
And it's not because I'm not amazing. It's because he was just he's like fuckboy era. You know?
Gotcha.
You were, darling. You've said it before, and I'll say it again.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
I have a question. So for 35-year-olds, we were like the guinea pigs for dating apps. How do 25-year-olds view dating apps?
I would say it's more or less people go on dating apps for the intent of it not going anywhere. It's more or less just because you're bored and you need somebody to talk to. Or it's more or less like you want to go on there and harass people and then get kicked off, and then you have a reason to brag about, oh, I'm not allowed on Tinder anymore. I got kicked off for being on Tinder.
That's a thing?
Oh, 100%. I have personal friends of mine, good friends that are like, oh yeah, I'm not allowed on Tinder anymore because I tried to buy weed off somebody or something like that. I mean, it's like, it's all funny, and I get it. It's like it's a fun story to tell, but like at the end of the day, I just don't, I think more and more, I mean, I say more and more my generation, I'm getting to the age where people take dating apps more seriously than say like a 21-year-old or a 20-year-old in college. But like more and more dating apps are becoming something that like, it's like a taboo now rather than like people going on there intentionally for the purpose of like, all right, I really want to meet somebody. Now it's all you see on dating apps now is like short-term relationship open to like long. What does that even mean? Like short-term relationship, that's the 3-month rule right there. That's somebody to buy you drinks, somebody for you to pay for drinks for 3 months. And then you maybe get lucky a couple times. Maybe you guys find out that you're, compatible for these reasons or you're friends in the long term. But like the short-term relationship, like language, it to me is like, that's dumb. That's just not
companionship. That's so interesting.
Yeah. And do you think that dating apps and social media as a whole makes it more challenging for people your age to actually communicate and date? Like even friends, like I feel like the younger generation grew up with technology, whereas, we kind of
we were the last
evolved into it. Do you find it easy yourself and see your friends where it's like, oh, it's normal. Like we meet friends out all the time and it's easy to talk to people? Or is it like, yeah, I have a lot of friends that are socially awkward?
It's easier to go out and meet people. It's easier to interact with people. There's this thing going around right now where it's like as humans, we were never supposed to be available or have people available to us like this to this extent. Like in your life, you were only supposed to see, maybe 1,000 people, whereas you can have, I have hundreds of thousands of followers. I follow hundreds of people. And so I think there's this thing going on right now where it's like there's too many people that are too accessible, and that's causing people, in my personal belief, it's causing a spike in cheating because you're seeing like, you're not happy with somebody that you're with and you're seeing hundreds of people, and rather than working on what you have, you're like, well, these people are accessible, and me working on myself is going to cause elbow grease. It's going to cause me to have to realize something about myself. And rather than doing that, they're like, I'm just going to swipe up on somebody's Instagram story.
I totally agree. One of our past episodes, I talked about divorcing. So I thought like 40 years ago, people got divorced because they were interested in such a limited amount of people, right? They were like, oh, I got married at 25, but I've only ever dated 5 people. There's got to be more out there. Now I think it's the exact opposite, where you see hundreds of people and you're like, oh, there's hundreds of people out here. Now I want to get divorced.
That paradox of choice is like, it's from the very inception of dating and dating apps to bleeds through to marriage. If you're not like, what you said was so astute in terms of the fact that like, even in relationships, when people are like, oh, it takes more elbow grease. You know what I mean? Like you're going to have to work on yourself. You're going to have to work towards it. And that's so much effort. And in today's day and age, when we have just like at our absolute fingertips, everything is instant gratification. You can order a fucking coffin to your house from Costco. Like it's so interesting to me. And so we've created like a fast food nation.
Yeah, 100%.
The other thing you said too about human beings only knowing 1,000 people in life. I love that because the research we did for our app was, I think you could only focus on 3 to 5 new connections per week. I think that's like what our brain could really
I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just fascinating where on all these other dating apps, you literally get 10, 20, 30 matches a day. It's like, there's no way you can even keep up with half of them.
At that point, it just becomes a number, and then they take a number, they go to the back of the line. Whether or not they actually get to the front of the line doesn't matter. They're just a number at that point. So when you limit that and you really make somebody focus on like, all right, you're going to talk to 3 or 5 people. If you want, you're not going to see anybody else. That's really gives somebody like the prerogative to like, all right, now I actually have to take somebody serious because there's not just this massive pool of whoever finds me interesting. It's these people and that's it. I think that's one of the better things that have come out of like dating apps in the recent years, for sure.
Nice.
Being more intentional with that.
Yeah.
100%. Do you think that dating apps should let you review your past dates or the people that you talk to?
Yeah, 100%.
Like an Uber?
I love that idea. Unfortunately, people will be hurt and they will let their emotions speak through the reviews. But at the same time, there is always some sort of honesty behind somebody's visceral reaction. So it's like, if it was a great time, then great, they get a positive review. If they didn't do their due diligence of being a good date and doing certain things, paying, that would weed out a lot of like people that have certain dating preferences. They look at a review and it's like when you try and go like in an Uber, sometimes it's like somebody with 4.6 stars versus 4.9. And then you look at the reviews and like the 4.6, it's like, they drove recklessly or they drove this way or they, didn't roll the windows down. It's like, okay, obviously I'm not going to take that one. I'm going to go with somebody that is more or less somebody I'm more compatible with in their style of whatever it is. And I think that is definitely, I think that's a great idea.
I was a 4.6 Uber.
Oh, that's all right. Hey, we can't all be 4.9s.
And how do we? You're 4.9?
I'm a 4.92. I don't know why.
I think I'm somewhere in that range too.
I think we found out together, right? We ordered an Uber and the guy came up and he's like, "You're lucky I picked you up." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're a 4.6. I was like, "Is that bad?" He's like, "Yeah, it's really bad." I was like, why am I a bad Uber? And he's like, apparently when you lived in New York, you did a lot of making out in the back of Ubers. Oh,
yeah.
And I was like, oh,
that'll do it.
Which, as a new girlfriend, I'd love to hear.
Yeah.
What was the one question I wanted to ask you? You actually touched on it earlier. This is always a really hot topic. Who pays on a first date?
The man, I come from like a very traditional background. The man should always pay for the dates regardless, unless it's like the woman is intentionally being like, all right, we're going to go and do something that I know you love because I want to spoil you or something like that. But for me, the man should always pay. It just makes logical sense for me. Like that is the polite thing to do. That's the kind thing to do. That's the classic and like the provider thing to do. Yeah, it's the chivalrous. You want to impress somebody. There's the whole thing around, everybody saying that like, men suck these days or men are trash, whatever.
Which that rhetoric needs to die.
I mean, to some extent, like if you're already fighting against that like premonition that some people might have, pay for the date. Shell out $40 for a couple of drinks or shell out $80 for some food. Money's going to come and go. If you really like this girl, show her that you care about her to the extent that like you are okay with being financially insecure so long as it means you might see her again.
Love that, Greyson. What's the clap that we do now? This?
No, that's the Venezuelan, yes. Like
this is yes, right? Yes. Everybody,
Our
yes
head of marketing,
Greyson.
Vicky, she's incredible.
Nice.
And she was teaching us new things from like her culture. And she was like, you get really excited about something. You said, yes, you do this. I was like, so happy worm? That's what I call it.
I thought you were teaching it like a fingering class.
No, happy
or
worm.
something.
When you're married, it's okay for the woman to pay because
Hey,
that's a nice equal, but it's also just like, I like what you said in terms of like, because women, we want to spoil the people that we like as well. And so I think it's really beautiful that we have the opportunity. Like in our first couple of like 6 months of dating, I did like force it. I was like, let me fucking poop with coffee. Because it's just like you want to be able to reciprocate in some way, shape or form. But it is such a beautiful thing as a woman, as much as people don't want to believe it in this kind of day and age, is that there are kind of like these gender roles that we form to in society. And it's really nice to feel taken care of as a woman.
Even now, I feel like when it comes to food, it's 80-20.
Sure.
Whenever we're out for food or buy something.
Oh, no, I disagree. I think it's like 65-35.
With food?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just my personal opinion. But like, he's the type of person like for our second anniversary, I'm not a very bougie person, but he's like, we're going to go stay at the Plaza for the night. And I was like, oh, darling, that's so sweet. Like he'll go all the fuck out just to be able to make like those little moments really special. And I'm really appreciative of it. Just loving my car door and shit. That's so nice. What's the weirdest, most random trait that you would instantly make you fall for somebody?
Ooh, oh man, this is a great question. I feel like on dates when somebody is so openly like passionate about a topic, could be the stupidest thing in the world. But if they can yap about something that they really like and it shows that they have this hobby or they have this passion or they have this whatever, slight thing that they prefer in a certain lifestyle that they have, like them going off on a tangent about how much they enjoy or can show through their conversation how much they enjoy and like something. That's one of those things where it's like you get to know somebody by seeing how passionate they get about things that they do in their life or things that they have going on in their life. And that's definitely one of them where I can like,
passion's sexy.
Yeah. You just like hit a little, it like tickles a little thing in your brain where you're like, okay, you have enough going on that like you are passionate about something. And if nothing else comes out of this relationship, the one thing I know about you is that you love this thing. That's, I think, something that I have found that I'm like, oh, that's cute.
I really like that. That's so nice. Okay, what's the strangest hill that you'll die on when it comes to a romantic partner? Like must eat sushi, must love miso.
Must love miso. That's a big one.
Must never clap when the plane lands.
Before I answer this, are either of you guys Disney adults?
No.
No?
He doesn't even know what that is.
Okay. All right. This is a hill that I have adamantly died on. I don't think you should be allowed to have children if you are a Disney adult. And I mean that in the nicest way possible.
We know one of those.
Who?
Here's the thing.
Nicole's a big Disney adult.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. She obsessed.
Here's the thing.
something new every day.
If you're a Disney adult, the parks themselves are already packed. They're already expensive. You already got enough children running around. You and your
Posse.
family unit, your family unit of like matching T-shirts. I get it.
Oh, you mean actually going to Disney World?
Yeah, like actually going to Disney with your litter of children. Yes. Like if you all have the matching T-shirts on, I get it. You want to fill up the log flume ride because the picture that comes out at the end is going to be funny. But like, flash passes are hard to come by. There's not a ton of space. Those churro lines are getting pretty extensive. I don't want to have to sit behind you and your 14 kids that have whatever trait that you have. I
have something to validate this. I have a cousin.
Okay.
Goes to Disney World every single year with her partner. Every single year. They don't have kids.
I love that.
Oh, see, I find that weird. Right? This is just my own personal opinion too. Just personal opinion. That I find it weird when like grown-ass adults without children are obsessed with Disney to the point where like there's accounts of content creators who like the entire thing is like them going to Disneyland every fucking day.
Yeah, my cousin goes to Disney every year.
I just find that strange.
It is definitely strange, especially when in all respect to Disney adults everywhere. It's a children's theme park for the most part. A lot of the themes, it's superheroes, it's cartoons, and I get it. There's nostalgia there, but like at some point you gotta grow out of it. The Thunder Mountain is not changing. I promise you that.
Leo's
much.
not going to Disney. I've never been to Disney.
Oh no, he's gonna go.
You should always go.
Yeah, he's gonna go. You know what? The first time for you and him. That would be
we'll
beautiful
see.
together.
We'll see.
You got to go because I've been to it in LA and actually went to Disney World in Paris as well. Beautiful. Like it's great having a go at it, but like we're talking about the people who have fucking season passes.
Yeah.
Go every weekend. They like literally go there to eat. It's like it's just to me again. Personal preference. Each to their own. You live your life. I'm not here to judge anybody, but like I personally would judge you a little bit if I knew you in my
Absolutely.
life. That's just life. All right, last one here. What is a green flag that people don't appreciate enough?
Just about anybody in general. Somebody who goes out of their way to be kind. I feel like a lot of time, and this might just be me being a negative person in general. I feel like a lot of kindness these days is like performative, or people want to impress others in terms of like doing something kind or not out of the ordinary per se. But like when somebody is like genuinely kind and they have like just a passion for helping people or being nice to people, thinking of people as people, that is to me like the greenest flag you can have. Like too many times these days you have somebody instead of like they'll get mad at somebody they don't know out in public because they violated their space in terms of like they didn't provide them enough of a window in public. Yeah, exactly. And like, I get it. Like personal space is big. Some people have certain things with personal space, whatever your history is. I get that. But like not just immediately jumping to like hating the person or being mean to the person or saying something mean about the person. I don't know what their life story is. Maybe they also have personal space issues and they were thinking the entire time like, oh my God, I'm violating somebody's. Just like being kind. It like when your first thought is to be kind, that to me is like the greenest flag you can get. I don't know if it's necessarily underrated. I'm sure everybody appreciates kindness, but like
I think what you said, like the performative kindness versus like the legitimate kindness, and like I think that comes with deep empathy and deep compassion.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that. And there's like situations where there'd be like a cashier and they're rude, and someone's like, "Why? Like you're a cashier. Like why are you being so rude?" And then it's like, "Oh, my dad died today." And it's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
like you don't realize that people go through things, and just because they're not performing the way that you want them to perform, they have shit going on in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always good to give people a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
Speaking of grace, we're going to play our last game.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Why is it Grace?
I don't know, because of Grayson. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like, you get it?
There we go.
You see what I did there? Thanks, everybody.
Good fun.
Okay, so we're going to play a game. We actually played this with Wolf. We played this with a couple of people on the podcast, and it's called What Would Grayson Do? So I'm going to throw you into some confounding, cringeworthy, and perhaps even nightmare-inducing date scenarios,
Excellent.
and you have to tell me, how would you handle it?
Okay.
Everything seems normal until you notice a blinking red light behind the salt shaker. When you ask what it is, she says, "Oh, don't worry, I always record my first dates so I can analyze how they went." What would Greyson do?
First and foremost, the first thing I'm going to do is say, "Did you just fart?" Like I'm going to have to do something to embarrass the person. When any of my friends are recording a video or they're doing anything out in public where they're recording, the first thing I say is behind the camera, so I can't be shown, is that, "Hey, do you still have that rash?" Because immediately they're like, what are you talking? I don't have a rash. What are you talking? Why'd you say that? I'm like, well, because I saw you recording. Like, I just wanted to embarrass you a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is be like, "It stinks in here. Did you fart?" Or I'm going to bring up something like, "Wow, it's really messy in here. Like, you didn't clean," or anything like something like that to just to break down the wall of I get that you're recording, but I'm going to make fun of you a little bit because there's something out there that's recording this moment and I can somehow, some way get you to break down that wall a little bit. That would be my first thought.
I love that. I love that answer so much. You show up to a date and they've brought their emotional support ferret. No warning, no explanation. Do you sit down or do you politely excuse yourself and get the fuck out of there?
Seeing as though I've never seen a ferret in real life, I've never been around one. Thank God. I don't know. Is that a cat? Is it a mouse? Is it something in between? I don't know. I would probably be well, first I would ask what its name is. Naturally, it's the nice thing to do.
You're polite.
I'm very polite. I'm going to ask, does it need any accommodations? Does it take dry food or wet food? Does it have wet food? Is it like a cat in that sense? I mean, that's what I'm familiar with. No, I mean, if somebody pulls up to a date with a ferret, I'm just going to be like, you never talked about that. Why didn't you specify that you had that?
What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, is that real? Is that, what is that? Yeah, that would be my first thought, is to question just about everything that's happening.
You know what? You're on a second date and they pull out a doc called Relationship Expectations and ask you to fill it out.
Man. First thing I'm probably going to do is, instead of putting my actual name on there, I'll put Fart Johnson or something. Sign it something dumb. So
classic with the fart joke.
Yeah, classic with the fart joke, right away. I'll obviously take a high level view at all of the questions, see how serious it is. And if I see that it's very serious, I probably won't answer them very seriously. No, I mean, everybody's got second date preferences. That's obviously somebody who takes their second dates very seriously.
Such a kind answer. You're I'd be there. I'm there participating with you.
I agree with them. I would give it a shot.
Yeah.
Is your angle to be funny, or are you really serious about this?
Yeah. Ultimately, depending on the thing about me, and this is one of my red flags, when I find that people don't like something about me, or they have a certain expectation for me to do a certain thing, I'm always going to do what they don't want me to do, out of just sheer, it makes them kind of mad. It makes them kind of upset, just
You're poking a button.
Yeah, I'm poking the bear for sure. My mom, she does this thing where she just stands in the kitchen. That's all. She'll just stand in the kitchen, whatever, she's doing her thing. And so while she's in there, to annoy her, I will shadow box her. I just I'm just in her space, just annoying her. And she's like, "You need to get out of my face." I'm just like, "You got to get out of the kitchen. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just gonna keep doing this."
Can't take the heat. Get out of the kitchen.
Exactly. And another thing that I do that my friends hate is I'll just when they bring up something or they ask me a question, the first thing I say is always a lie, no matter what. They'll ask me "Oh, what did you do today?" And I'll be like, something dumb, but something kind of realistic. And then they'll be like, "Oh, really?" And I'll be like, "No, I didn't do that. That's a lie."
I do this all the time.
It's the best.
They'll be like, "Well, you're such a liar." I'm like, "No, you're just so easy." And I get you over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But I tell them it's a lie after the second sentence.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to keep going, because then they really get mad. And
then you're a liar rather than just it being funny.
I played Jalen Brunson in one-on-one. They're like, you know Jalen Brunson? I'm like, no. You think I played Jalen Brunson in a one-on-one?
I will say that all you and your brothers, he's the oldest of 4 boys, right?
Oh, nice.
They're all such good fucking liars. His brother TJ.
No, it's what Greyson does. We see how gullible you are. And then if you're gullible.
So sorry that I'm trusting. Last one. They end the date by handing you a handmade friendship bracelet, but your name is spelt wrong.
Oh, it happens. Funny enough, I haven't gotten a friendship bracelet before with my name spelled wrong, but people oftentimes spell my name wrong. They say my name wrong. I mean, with the Greyson, when there's an A or an E that you can spell it with, it happens all the time. It would honestly make me laugh, and I would never correct them. I think being known as something like wrong is so much funnier because in the future they're gonna like sign my name as something or they're gonna tell their friends and it's gonna be written, and then when they find out it's written wrong and they have to be like, why didn't you say anything? I'm just gonna be like, I just thought it was funny. Like
there is this like adorably evil side to you in like the
100%.
best way possible.
100%.
It's not malicious in any way, shape, or form, but it's just for the shits and giggles, as I would say. And I think it's delightful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think this hour's gone by so quickly.
That was already an hour.
An hour of our night.
Exactly.
That's wow.
We know where to find you, but can you let our listeners know where they can find you on social media?
Yeah.
Not in person.
Yeah, well, yeah, hey, if you want to come see me in person, just don't be weird about it. No, on social media, you can follow me at Greyson Hoelzel. It's pretty much that across the board. I do have a podcast. We talked about the Happier Hour where I give bad dating advice as a joke, but some of it's good if you think it's good. I don't know. You can apply it to your life if you want to. I wouldn't, but it is what it is. But yeah, those are the places you can find me. If you look, you will find me.
If you look hard enough, you will find Greyson.
I'm not too hard.
For a collaboration with us and Greyson coming
yes,
up.
Yes, absolutely.
So you want to do your outro, Devin?
Yes. Thank you guys for listening. Check out one of our past episodes. Please subscribe. It helps us a lot. We love you. Happy dating, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.